Yes, sir. If you can keep a secret, President Trump is not thrilled with Fed Chair Jerome Powell. That may not trigger removal, but allegations of mortgage fraud can. Fed Governor Lisa Cook has been informally accused of mortgage fraud. No indictment, no arrest, but is the standard for cause or for conviction? Joining us is Chris Swecker, former Assistant FBI Director. Welcome, Special Agent. What is mortgage fraud and how is it proven?
Good evening, Trey. Well, mortgage fraud really burst on the scene right before the big financial crisis in 07, 08, 09, when we had all kinds of different fraudulent activities taking place in the mortgage market. Straw buyers, appraisals that were inflated. We had attorneys and appraisers that were involved. I mean, there were just big, huge mortgage fraud cases, and there were a lot of individual cases like this one that at that time really didn't get prosecuted because there were so many big mortgage fraud, big multi-billion-dollar frauds taking place. But that nonetheless, what happened here is that the Fed governor lied on her mortgage application just to get a lower interest rate. She said that she would occupy this house or these three different houses to get a lower interest rate. And the banks are underwriters. They decide what type of risk they want to take. The default rates are higher on investment property over owner-occupied property, so they give a higher rate to investment property. She lied on her loan application to get a lower rate. So it's a small mortgage fraud. It's not a big institutional systemic fraud that she did, but she committed fraud nonetheless. And I think it's worse because she's part of the body that actually regulates these banks and preaches to them to look out for mortgage fraud.
You know, Special Agent, for all those folks who can't afford that second and third home, I mean, it is important that you tell the truth on your mortgage application, and you can't have multiple primary residences. I mean, you can't live in more than one house the majority of the year. She's suing to stay on the Fed board. For cause, to me, does not equal for conviction. I mean, those are two different standards. Right. What do you think?
I agree 100%. You know, as a former federal prosecutor know, an individual case like this probably won't get prosecuted, but it doesn't mean that you can't fire someone because they lied on a mortgage application or three different applications, especially when they're part of the governing body, the regulating body for banks that, again, are responsible for the safety and soundness of our banks and issue the rules and regulations around detecting mortgage fraud and preventing mortgage fraud in the financial industry. So that's, that right there is what I would call cause, at least here in North Carolina, and I'll bet South Carolina too.
All right, Special Agent, before I let you go, you and I were together this week during yet another awful shooting. This one at a church targeting school children. I mean, our country can do almost anything we put our minds to, but we're struggling to keep soft targets and innocent children alive. You have a unique perspective that I know a lot of people respect. Is there something that we're missing that can be done to stop this without punishing law-abiding citizens who would never hurt anyone?
Yeah, there are a lot of things, Trey. I mean, one of the things that I do is school security assessments for universities, schools, churches. There are a number of our universities here in North Carolina and at least 24 churches and schools. And I always advocate for first deterrent, prevention, an early warning system to detect any red flags, if you will. And it's one of those things that you can do in the church or in the school, just your guidance counselors, your teachers, your staff, just watching for someone who seems to be disturbed and articulating things and looks like they're about to go off. That also extends to the parents and the community as well. So one is that detection system and being willing to report it so that someone can intervene. If you can't prevent it from happening, there are a lot of things you can do at the school and church to mitigate it. And in this case, and in all cases, I recommend an armed security presence at the university, at the school, at the church. And I know that a lot of administrators and executive directors push back and say, look, we don't want to look like Fort Knox. But in this day and age, you must have that presence outside your church or school or facility to deter some and to confront someone if they come in to do what happened here. So that, and then there's a whole myriad of other things. I mean, access control, locked doors, electronic access control. There are policies that you can put in place. I mean, there's just a lot of things you can do to mitigate what happened here.
It was a heartbreaking time. I was glad to have your perspective that day, and thank you for your service to our country, and hope you have a good Labor Day weekend.
Thank you. You too, Trey.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.